What is your worst experience of waking up after a one night stand? This girl's parents came home a couple days early and in the morning I was sleeping with her in her room with a couple alcohol bottles surrounded the bed with an ashtray filled with weed and a couple of roaches in there too. Well anyways, parents came home and went upstairs, was completely naked with no covers on and they just see my schlong just out in the open. I thought her dad was going to beat my ass. Probably the most awkward thing to ever happen to me. Went to an older lady's house one night. Next morning her kid comes in. And he's at least 16-17. He's like, OMG mom, another one? We went to her house, did our thing, and went to sleep. Woke up next morning to a really heavy set kid in the doorway. I said hey and he starts laughing hysterically. It was her special needs lil bro. She wanted me to stay for the night. I didn't want to but I did. I woke up in the middle of the night and tried to sneak out just to find out the door was locked. She woke up and asked me where I was going. Water was the only thing that came to mind. She walked with me to the kitchen, walked with me back to the room and locked the door again. Waking up and being asked to leave, and then going outside to find my car was towed, then having to go back inside and wait. The girl had bit my lip till it bled. I had bruises and cuts on my body and she had peed on her own floor. She couldn't remember my name either. We've been together for over a year and a half and I've never been happier. First one nighter I had was in my early 20s when I'd only banged people I was in relationships with. I'm very much the stereotypical gaming nerd. Casual sex is not in my personality at all. So I woke up, my apartment. She was asleep next to me, and I had no idea what to do. If I woke up next to her GF I'd either cuddle her or get up and boil the kettle. So I got up to do that but phased out and stood naked in the doorway looking at my couch in the other room for I don't know how long. Came out of my reverie when she said what on earth are you doing? I don't really remember what happened. Think she just got dressed, had a drink and left. Wasn't a bad experience I guess and we're still in touch but I was really put off by how out of character it was for me. Family member after a wedding reception with an open bar. Can't remember much as she cannot either. But we both woke up in the nude with multiple used condoms all over the hotel room. I was in Vancouver on a port visit and spent most of the night drinking and the rest scouring the city for somebody who maybe had some shrooms for sale. I asked this random girl on the street, ended up in a conversation with her. We go back to her place and smoke and she proceeds to make me instant mac and cheese but left out any trace of butter or milk. Being a gentleman I silently eat said mac and cheese. The night progresses and we hook up. In the morning massively hungover I realize what happened the night before and I sheepishly slip out of the house before she wakes up. I then realize I don't have a penny on me and I don't know where I am. Spend the rest of the day trying to find my way back to my ship. A sailor's life for me. Back when I lived with my dad, I took home a friend's sister from the bar. Pretty messed up. Don't remember much. We were awoken by 4 guys with guns drawn yelling at us to get out of bed. Turns out I was being raided by the friendly local drug task force. Sitting on the couch with my dad and this chick, whose name I could barely remember, while they tore up the house was interesting. We all ended up getting arrested and I haven't talked to her since. She tried to add me on FB a couple years ago. I guess I made a good impression. Edit. To anyone who was following this, I requested more info from local clerk of court. I didn't get much. The arresting report is only available for me and doesn't specify what the chick's specifics. And her info has been taken down, sealed or expunged maybe, but I did find that she had arrested F posse schedule IV substance and then her final outcome was no info. Posse shtai. If anyone can interpret that better than me, be my guess but it looks like whatever the charges, they were no infoed in the end so she got off. Not me but happened to a friend. Drunk girl comes barging into his dorm room, clearly not sure where she is, yelling for some guy who doesn't live there and proceeds to fall asleep in my bro's bed. He proceeds to pick up his Game Boy and plays games all night until she wakes up the next morning very confused about what had happened. There was a continental storm and she was snowed in until 5 PM the next day. We both woke up after a night of really rough sex while she was on her period. The hotel room looked like that scene from Dexter. My freshman year of college, I had a one night stand with a girl from Tinder. Once I met her, she told me she was on probation for punching her ex-boyfriend in the face and breaking his nose. My young self didn't care and just wanted to get laid. The next morning after I left her place, she texted me saying she was drunk, which was completely untrue because neither me or her had anything to drink and there was consent. She was furious with my response and threatened to call the police and charge me with slander. I was confused, so just thought she was crazy and brushed it off. The next night I went to her party with my friends and she was there. She was completely belligerent and came up to me asking me to f her. I said no and she tried to punch me. I backed away and walked out the door. She followed and threw a bottle of Seagram's vodka which hit a cop car. She was arrested that night and went to jail. Moral of the story: think with your brain, not your Woke up mostly naked, still drunk, with the guy I to sleep in bed with me. Okay, normal. But then looked around and there were 5 other guys in the hotel room. Not normal. I calmly looked up and asked the guys, did I f any of y'all? A resounding no. Got dressed. Woke up the guy. We all got Taco Bell. I went home. Edit for what I remember. This was at an anime convention in Texas like 4 years ago. I met the guy while having a cig break from the con rave. We drank. Went back to the rave. Moved the party to his hotel room. His buddies arrived. Made fun of us for the noise. And we all drank some more. After that I assume I passed TF out LMAO. Woke up next to my best friend. We had been friends for 4 years. Happy hour went late. Then one thing to another and all that. She made a little surprised yelp sound when she woke up and excused herself to the other room. We were at her apartment. It was fantastic waking up with her. High hopes for the next day. That was pretty much the end of our hanging out. Now, a few years later, we barely talk anymore. Not worth it. Got drunk at a friend's party one night. Woke up next to the girl I had a serious crush on for months, only to realize that she didn't like me in that way. So I had a killer hangover and my heart was broken. Yay parties. Found out I hit my face on the nightstand while sleeping and got a bloody nose. My entire chest and face was covered in blood when I woke up. Needless to say, it freaked both of us out. LOL. This was the one and only one night stand I had. I'm not that type really. Woke up to a bunch of Snapchats of my penis from the girl I slept with. She put a couple of them on her story. I guess she did this when I was asleep. Edit. We were piss drunk the night before. Like the chick was still next to me when I was checking the Snapchats. I woke her up and had her delete them. Wasn't anything malicious. Sex was good though. Woke up on the other side of London pretty happy with myself. Until I realized all I had to wear was a tiger onishi. No shoes, not t-shirt, just boxers and a tiger onishi. Going through London rush hour in a tiger onishi with the remains of tiger face paint was interesting. Had a great night with a lovely older lady. Proper MILF. The next morning I went down to make a cup of tea for the two of us. I couldn't help but think that I'd been in that kitchen before. I was having a deja vu moment. As I turned round out of the kitchen with a few cups of tea in hand, I see a girl. She screams moo. It hits me. She was another one night stand I'd had a few weeks before. I had accidentally done the mother-daughter. Luckily most of my clothes were in the living room downstairs. Needless to say I left. Oh, I've got this one. I posted it a while back, but here's the gist. Got insanely drunk at a hipster bar and met this cute little pixie chick. We went back to place. Double back beasted it. And passed out on her bed. Or what I thought was her bed. When I awoke the next morning, it became abundantly clear that she had absolutely no furniture in her room. Every surface, this includes bed and makeshift desk, was comprised solely of dirty clothes. Literal mountains of them. It didn't smell too bad, considering, but still wasn't pleasant. I sneaked out while she was burrowing deeper into the bed pile. I should also mention that I wear contacts and didn't have my glasses with me. Turns out I drunkenly removed my contacts and flung them God knows where. So I then proceeded to very blindly, still drunkenly, stumble 2.5 miles back to my house. College. Her boyfriend walked in, understandably pissed. I got out of bed and walked across the hall to my room.